Hi there, this is Craig, and this is another mindfulness podcast. The theme for this one is connectedness. And when we're practicing mindfulness, we're kind of looking more out into the world and we're more aware of what's happening outside in nature when we go for a mindful walk, for example. Or if we're eating, we're really focusing on our food, we're mindfully eating. When we're doing these things, we're not thinking about ourselves, we're not looking at ourselves as a separate entity to what is going on. We're there with our breakfast, we're there with our walk. So you could say we're connected to our walk or our breakfast, rather than kind of going into our heads and thinking about past and future, where we're tending to think about I need to do this, or I wish I could do that, or I've got all these things to do today. There's the I there in those statements, and that's our ego, that's our separate self that just thinks about us. But when you start to consider life itself, you kind of start to get to a place where things aren't separate. It becomes almost an illusion to think of things as separate. And I'll give you an example. I'm currently looking at a book. So for that book to have actually be there, for it to actually exist, there needed to have been paper to make the pages in the book and ink to make the print of the text. And so you can kind of, look back and sort of think, well, where did the paper come from? Where did the ink come from? And so paper comes from trees, comes from wood. So you need trees to make paper. And in order for a tree to flourish, you need sunshine, you need soil, you need rain, you need clouds. So it's really interesting that when you start looking at an object, in fact, any object, and I would recommend contemplating an object, noticing all the parts that make up that object, they come from something else. And so you could sort of say that things are just playing hide and seek. There's still rain and cloud and paper in your book. It's still there. Whatever made that book, you needed all these things to get to the book. So when you start looking at life in that way, when you start seeing all the connectedness, the interconnectedness of things, you kind of come out more from your ego mind and you're more into just being in the world. You start noticing a different relationship with things. So it's a kind of practice in a way to kind of look at the world like this, to look at objects like this. It's also to notice when we go into our ego mind, when we start thinking about ourselves or we start judging things, to kind of take stock and pause for a moment and just kind of remember what it is. How have we even got here? Why are we in our ego? What is it about those thoughts? Where's the connectedness in those? And so again, just like you would with a book or an object, you start analyzing your thoughts in a mindful way. So don't get upset with your thoughts. It's kind of like, okay, how interesting, I'm thinking about this thing. Now I wonder where this thought comes from. Can I trace it back? Is it me? Is it something my parents might have said? Is it something someone else has said? Am I mirroring or reflecting back something I've seen or I've dreamt about? Or is it in a book? Or is it in a movie? All of these things, you're getting curious about your thinking. Rather than judging the thought or beating yourself up for having a particular thought, it's good to kind of be curious and notice where it's come from originally. Because you're not your thoughts, they're just energy that comes up in a particular moment. You think something and then it goes away again. And everything is like this. There's a change every moment. We have a different thought, or the weather changes, or our feelings change, our emotions can shift. All of these things is a lovely way of looking at life. Everything is impermanent. Nothing stays the same forever. Um, that can be a positive way of looking at the world. For some, it can be a fearful place because sometimes people want to hang on to things. They want to make sure everything is secure and stable and that it doesn't change. You might want happiness, for example, to stay forever. But it's not actually what happens in life. So we need to try and work into an acceptance of what is, which is mindfulness, what's going on in each moment, and to trust that the future is going to be okay. And that trust comes from just accepting what comes up, whether it's, whether we judge it to be good or we judge it to be bad. It's just an instance in the moment. It's just one of these impermanent things that comes up and goes away again. And so when you start acting and when you start doing things from your thoughts or from your day, whatever your to-do list is, what you do actually ripples out in a connected way as well to everything else. So this contemplation on objects and how they're all manifested and our thoughts and how they're all manifested, when you're acting, when you're actually doing something, again, that principle can be applied. So, for example, if you're calm and gentle with yourself and you're patient with yourself and you're giving yourself lots of kindness and compassion and you're noticing emotions are coming up and they may be a bit uncomfortable, but you're sitting with them and you're breathing with them like we do in mindfulness. And there's other podcasts that can show you how you sit with your emotions. You're tuning in to this way of life, this way of being, and you're not criticizing or commenting or judging on any of these things. You're just being with them, breathing with them, giving them kindness. And what you find then is that your connectedness with the world will also be kind, will also be gentle, will also be patient, because you're emanating those things. Just as if you were angry or upset or worried, you're emanating those things. And what tends to happen is the world kind of gives you back what you're emanating. It's a very curious way that life is. So if you're thinking a lot of negative stuff or you're upset about a lot of things, then you'll get that back in different forms. Just as if you were happy or jolly, you would get that back in different forms as well. Which is why gratitude and having a generous nature and having compassion is so important for you, because it's also rippling out to the world, to the universe even, if quantum physics is to be believed. So, tuning in to the fact that everything is connected kind of lessens our separateness. It's like what we think, what we do can actually have an influence on other things. It's not just us. So when we know that, sometimes that can change the way we think. It can make us feel more kind to people or more compassionate to people because we know that we're connected and that there's what we put out in the world is what we'll get back. And also, by putting out kindness into the world, you're giving kindness to other people, and they in turn will generate their own kindness. It's a kind of it's a ripple effect. So noticing connectedness in things, being curious about things, including your thoughts, including your feelings, where have they come from? It takes you away from ego, it takes you away from yourself into a more selfless attitude. So that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today, and I'm going to finish with a meditation. So I'd like you to get comfortable. I have my little bell here that I'll hit. So just relax, close your eyes if you like, and here we go. So just begin by noticing your breath, noticing your in-breath and your out-breath. And feel the air as you breathe in. Feel the air as you breathe out. Breathing in, you know you're breathing in. Breathing out, you know you're breathing out. And just tune in to how you're feeling just now. Just notice the connection between your body and the chair or the floor. And just breathe with your body. Just notice any sensations or emotions. And as you breathe with your emotions or your bodily sensations, just get a bit curious about how your body has come to be. That you're made up of non-human elements like water, which in itself is oxygen and hydrogen. And that hydrogen and oxygen are given from other objects like trees and the sun. And without trees or the sun, our body wouldn't be here. And each time you breathe, you're breathing in more oxygen into your body, which helps with calming you, giving your body some nutrients and energy. And just smile as you breathe in. Just notice what it feels like to smile. And just wonder how you learned to smile. Maybe you smile like your parents. Or maybe you have your own unique smile. Just breathe gratitude to your body, to yourself. Just give gratitude to the oxygen, the hydrogen and the water the sunlight. Just knowing that every breath is a miracle of life, a miracle of evolution, of our lungs, our ability to breathe. Something we've inherited. And just notice where the I, where the self is in all of this. So just take another few conscious breaths. And just when you're ready, just gently open your eyes. Come back to your room. Okay, so thank you for doing that meditation on connectedness, on into being. There's several words for it. No self. It's a lovely practice to start coming away from your ego, coming away from self-thinking, and go into being, and go into just sitting, just meditating, and really embracing everything that has got you to where you are. And really noticing when you go for your mindful walks, things like the trees, the sunshine, the rain. It can give us a different slant on these things. They're not ordinary, they're extraordinary. We're all miracles that we're here at all, able to use our awareness to walk and to feel. So I hope this has been a helpful podcast. It covers some interesting topics. Yep, enjoy your day. Thank you for listening. And if you like them, there's more here on the site for you to listen to. And I'll speak to you another time. So take care.